Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended. And in this video, I want to show you how much damage the Shastasaurus, the new creature in Ark, can actually do. Because it has a torpedo system equipped to it, you can see that this massive creature is super neat. And it also comes with a really cool function. Yes, this thing's huge, but it has the ability to cycle through some abilities and actually use torpedoes. Now you can go to the flashbang and you can see Torpedo 0. It actually uses rocket-propelled grenades, not rocket homing missiles, rocket-propelled grenades as its ammunition. Melee damage doesn't seem to affect the amount of damage it does. Maybe they'll change that, I don't know. But it literally has the ability to shoot some torpedoes from this really cool kind of command center on the inside of it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how much damage it does to all structures and kind of how you can use this thing. Now, if you don't mind, smash that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then continue. If you don't mind, sub to the channel, that would be awesome. So let's go ahead and get started with this thing. So basically we have the torpedoes inside of it. If you hold right click, it'll actually go to a target and you can see it highlight itself in red to show you that it's going to do damage to something. And then I've got damage numbers turned on so you can see. So it does about 2,000 damage to Thatch, which kills Thatch obviously right off the bat. And then with wood, just so you can see, what was that, like 6,000 damage, give or take? And we'll fire another rocket over there just to do some damage. Yeah, you can see around 6,000 damage to a direct hit. And then you can keep firing them because unlike a rocket launcher, which loses the durability rather quickly, it seems as if this thing, as long as it has a green or blue option to it, will allow you to continue to shoot and blast things, which is kind of fun. But you know, it is what it is. So with the stone, it also seems to do right around 5,000 damage per shot. You can see that right there, around 5,000, and then it does splash damage to the other structures as well. But again, it's super fun to fire this thing. So just keep firing away and it's a blast. So that is that. Now let's go ahead and move on to the actual metal, which is this section right here. And you can see that per shot, we're doing about, is that 1,800 that I just saw? Well, that's interesting. So metal, it's doing 1,800 a shot, which is actually a significant chunk of damage because metal does not have all that much health. Especially when you can fire this many torpedoes right off the bat, you can do a significant amount of damage. Considering that RPGs are incredibly cheap to make, this does a stupid amount of damage to the metal. That's kind of crazy. So tech is on the far right. This is what I've been the most curious about. Okay, 400 damage, not super great, but not super bad. But because it can keep firing torpedoes nonstop like this, that is a really, really powerful ability. Now they do have a maximum range, just like a rocket has a maximum range. But it is a really neat function that it can kind of just continue to pepper and throw rockets in just about any direction. Considering that as long as you can see the middle bottom of my screen, that there's just like a red timer that goes down. And as long as that red timer is up, you can just keep clicking and it'll launch new torpedoes every, like, I don't know, 3/4 of a second, which is pretty cool. Maybe it's even 1 second. It might be more accurate, but it does a bunch of damage. Like I have done almost, keyword being almost, nothing. Let's go ahead and get outside and check this thing out. So, Shastasaurus launching, and it seems to launch the torpedoes from, like, I don't know where. Maybe like the upper part of that. I don't know. It seems to come from there. But you can see that we destroyed some of the metal for sure. And at 1,800 damage a shot with 15,000, that means you take what? Almost 8 rockets-ish will destroy, or 8 torpedoes will destroy a metal foundation, which is pretty good considering it's really strong actually. And then 400, so these have 15,000, so it's going to take a while to destroy tech, but again, not too bad considering there's splash damage on the tech and it's really good. The stone got shredded by the thing. The wood is almost totally gone, and the thatch is obviously completely gone as well. So the Shastas are really strong. Now, just to show you, because people are going to ask, what happens if you do add EXP to this thing? And let's just add like 100,000 experience just to make it like stupid capped. And we'll go ahead and just crank up this thing's melee to see if it actually changes based upon the melee. I just wanted to show you guys this, but obviously rocket propelled grenades, this thing does a bunch of damage. And then a direct shot to somebody not wearing armor will do 3,000 damage to them. So it will insta-kill a player unless they have armor on, which will reduce the amount of damage that that player is taking. But just so you can see, we're going to go ahead and shoot at the tech armor or the tech over there, and it's not quite doing that much damage. Doing 400 a shot, not too bad. And then 1800, so the melee on these guys doesn't actually do the damage to that as well. So we'll go ahead and go over here. Now this is going to be an interesting thing because you can technically mesh using this, which is not the greatest thing in the world. Because if you put a bench inside of this, you'll be able to actually attack with the Shastasaurus. But notice how it can't do any damage to metal or anything like that, which is just generic attack. But if you had somebody inside of this on a bench, unfortunately, they would be meshing right now and they would allow that. So that's kind of an interesting thing. But the turret being obstructed does not allow it to fire, which is good. So you cannot fire through the mesh, which is a very positive thing. But it's very difficult to hit targets as well. Just so you can see, it doesn't seem to lock on, unfortunately. It kind of just fires at the general region of something. And it doesn't actually lock on, which is kind of crappy in all honesty. But we'll see if I can actually hit this thing. Okay, so 800 damage a shot to a Megalodon. Not super great. Not happy about that number. But, you know, you can just hit it with your regular attacks if you have a good melee on this thing. I mean, 800 damage a hit. Not too great considering the attack slow. But that is what the torpedo is capable of. It is a really, really good function. And it can, just so you can see, fire out of the water. It looks just like a rocket as it goes out of the water. You can see that right there. Go ahead and look like straight up and see how high we can get that thing to go. Yeah, so it looks like it actually sits on the top of the surface and it doesn't actually go out of the water. Unfortunate. But that is how you use the actual torpedoes on a Shastasaurus, and to show you what it's capable of. It adds a different function to things underwater because you used to only be able to use the, how do I say this? You used to only really be able to use a tech rifle and then also C4, but adding rockets does give a little bit of a change up to what you can do. Plus, you can kind of use the back of this thing to fire out of as well. So definitely a great creature to use. The rockets do make it kind of functionally cool, but the actual PvP usage, maybe not so great. So anyways, I hope this video helps you out. And other than that, teach.